and the episode number updated. Follow and subscribe 5-episode thriller for more episodes. Episode 2 of 5, Echoes in the Room. The next morning, Dr. Adrian Vale arrived at the facility earlier than usual. The sky outside was still the bruised gray of pre-dawn, and the corridors echoed with the clink of janitor keys and the low hum of machines preparing for the day. He didn't need coffee today. He needed answers. He reviewed the footage of Session 5 one last time, fingers steepled against his lips, the twitch of Elena's gaze, that nearly imperceptible breath. In his world, these weren't trivial. They were seismic. He decided it was time to introduce stimuli. Session 6, Saturday. The room had changed. When Elena was brought in, her eyes flicked, subtly, but there it was, toward the far wall, where a mirror had been replaced with a canvas. A charcoal sketch drawn by a forensic artist from memory. Matthew Rhys's face. Smiling. A trap. Dr. Vale sat down across from her, but not in his usual posture. Today, he sat more relaxed. Legs slightly apart, one arm hooked lazily over the chair's side. A predator trying not to look like one. I found this in one of your old social media posts, he lied smoothly, gesturing toward the drawing. Anniversary dinner, just the two of you. Elena stared at the portrait. Blank. You cooked for him that night. I imagine you always did. You strike me as someone who keeps things tidy, predictable, controlled. She blinked. Once. He leaned forward. You weren't always like this, were you? The silence. The coldness. I think you used to be very different. I think you used to laugh. Still nothing, but her hands, those delicate, unmoving hands, twitched. A fraction of a movement. Her right thumb tapped the nail of her left index finger. Once. He said nothing. Just took mental note. Then he took out a tape recorder again. I'm going to tell you another story, Elena. You don't have to respond, but I want you to listen. Click. He let the silence stretch for a moment before speaking. There was a woman who thought she was in love. She married a man who made her feel special, even protected. But over time, she noticed strange things. Her cat died. He said it was an accident. Her brothers stopped calling. She later found out the husband threatened him. She became smaller and smaller inside herself until she wasn't sure who she was anymore. Then one day, she snapped. He looked up. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She waited until he was asleep. She walked into the bedroom, and she ended him. Not because she wanted to kill him, but because she needed her voice back. Click. He shut off the recorder. Elena looked straight at him. Not through him. At him. And then her lips parted. Just slightly. He held his breath, but she didn't speak. Session 7, Monday. She refused food over the weekend, drank water, slept, but didn't engage. Even the guards said she seemed creepier than usual. Vale changed tactics again. When she entered the room this time, a small music box sat on the table. White porcelain, hand-painted roses, Victorian style, unassuming. He didn't say anything. Just waited for her to notice. 30 seconds in, she glanced at it. He opened it. A delicate, haunting melody filled the room, the tune of Greensleeves, the kind of music played in old lullabies or childhood ballerina boxes. Her pupils contracted. Reaction. He spoke gently. You recognize it? No answer. I found it in the crime scene photos. On your vanity. Blood spatter on the hinge. It was open when they found you sitting in the living room, playing this song on repeat. Still silence, but her jaw clenched. He leaned forward. You opened it after you killed him. Why? Was it a ritual? A goodbye? Or was it something else? A pause. Then, the most human thing he'd seen from her, she closed her eyes. Just for a moment. He didn't press. He let the music fill the space between them. Let the memory live there. Session 8, Tuesday. It was time to push harder. I spoke to your neighbor, he said casually as she entered. Mrs. Lang lives 3 doors down. She said she heard things at night. Screams. Thumps. Glass breaking. But she never called the police. You always answered the door smiling. No reaction. She said something else interesting. He opened a file and read slowly. Sometimes I saw her in the garden late at night, standing there, barefoot, staring at the dirt. She'd stay there for hours, not moving, like she was waiting for something to come up from underneath. Elena blinked. Vale snapped the file shut. What were you burying out there, Elena? She looked up. That flicker again. The look of someone who wanted to scream but had built a dam inside their throat. You're not mute. You're hiding. From me. From them. But mostly from yourself. No response. Let's test that theory. He pulled a small item from a manila envelope and placed it on the table. A cracked locket. I had this cleaned. Found in the garden under the rose bushes. Dirt inside. Also, a small photograph. He slid it closer. You as a little girl, maybe 5, holding hands with a woman I assume is your mother. She's crying in the photo. You aren't. Elena's mouth twitched. Finally her voice. Just one word. Hoarse. Dry. As though it had crawled through a desert to be born. Not her. Vale didn't react. Didn't break the moment. Who is she then, Elena? Her eyes filled with something just shy of grief. And then silence returned. But he'd heard it. He had it on tape. Her first word in 8 days. That night, alone in his office, Vale stared at her file. Abuse was the obvious theory, the popular one, but something didn't add up. The murder was too clean, the method too precise, the detachment too deliberate, and now this locket, the music box, the garden. Something was under the surface, something older than the marriage, something older than Matthew. He circled a phrase in his notes. Early trauma, premarital, possibly maternal. Latent dissociative pattern? Then he scribbled another line. Patient is not just suppressing memory. She may be protecting someone, or something. He glanced at the audio log again. Her one word echoed like thunder in a canyon. Not her. Who was she then? Follow and subscribe 5-episode thriller for more episodes.